Hi children, this is Cbse grade 10 Economics Sectors of the Indian Economy Part 1. In this, let us see what are the sectors of Indian economy. See, people are engaged in various economic activities. People will be doing this work or that work for what they are doing to earn money for their livelihood. Okay, that is called economic activities. They will be producing something or they will be purchasing and selling something. This or that, they'll be doing something to earn money for their livelihood. What are economic activities? Let us see. The activities, what people do to earn money is called economic activities. So activities of producing something, producing goods or services, purchasing goods and services, selling goods and services, or distribution. So producing, purchasing, selling, and distribution of goods and services that involves money is called transaction. One thing we have to produce and sell, or we have to purchase and sell. That is called, or do we have to do service? That is called economic activity. If we do it for earning money, if it involves money, that is economic activity. We have grouped into these economic activities, we have grouped into 3 sectors: primary, secondary, and tertiary sectors. Primary are the first. Primary means first, secondary is second, tertiary is third. So what is first primary? If we produce something by exploiting natural resources from nature, if we produce something, that is primary sector. What are the things? Agriculture, fishing, mining are. Secondary, by using this primary product as raw material, if you make it the primary product into other forms in industries, in the process of manufacturing, that is called secondary. From primary shape to secondary shape. For example, cotton to shirt. Yes. What is tertiary? Tertiary is helping these two sectors. I mean first and secondary sectors. See, we cannot produce, we cannot stop our activities with produce. All cannot be engaged in production or manufacturing. Some people will be helping transport. They will be the owners of the lorry. They will be financing the activities. They'll be purchasing and sales. So what are all the activities that help to the primary and secondary are called tertiary sector. Now let us see one by one in detail. There are many activities that are undertaken by directly using natural resources. For example, cotton cultivation. For growth of cotton, we depend mainly, not entirely, on natural factors like rainfall, sunshine, climate. These are all natural factors. We produce cotton on depending these natural resources. So cotton is a natural product. So when we produce goods by exploiting natural resources, it is an activity of primary sector. Example, agriculture, dairy, fishing, mining, etc. Why it is called primary sector? Because it forms a base for all other products subsequently we make. I mean, for example, if you take, for example, wheat. From wheat, we will make wheat flour, then biscuit, chapati, puri, this and that, cake. So, from the wheat is helping as a base for the subsequent product. Okay, if you take, for example, cotton, from cotton, we will be making cloth, yarn, weave, cloth, garments, this and that. Okay, so it is a base for the subsequent make. So it is primary. It is called primary product. Okay. Since most of the products are from agriculture, this is also called agriculture related sector. So primary is what we exploit, what we produce from exploiting the nature is called primary. Because it acts as a base for subsequent product, it is called primary sector. And also, as most of the products from agriculture, it is also called agriculture related sector. Now let us move on to the secondary sector. What is secondary sector? Using the primary product as raw material, I mean cotton to shirt, or sugarcane to sugar, earth to bricks. Like So natural products are changed into other forms by manufacturing in industries. So for example, cotton to yarn and cloth, sugarcane to sugar and earth to bricks. This is called secondary sector. In the form primary, it transforms into the secondary sector. Since this sector is associated with different kinds of industries, all the manufacturings will be going on in industries. So this is also called industrial sector. We have seen that primary is also called agriculture sector. Secondary is also known as industry because all the works are done in the industries. So it is also called industrial sector. Now let us move on to the tertiary sector. What is tertiary sector? Tertiary is third activity. First activity from nature. Second activity using that natural product manufacturing process we are making into next form, that is secondary. Tertiary third. So the activities which are all helping the first and secondary sectors are called tertiary. These things, they will not directly by themselves do not produce a good, but they will support for the production of the goods. They will not directly involve in the production of the tertiary sector is not directly involved in the production of goods, but it will support for the production of goods. Okay. For example, the produced goods, I mean from agriculture field to, it should be transported to the industry. So transport we can consider as a tertiary sector. Sometimes we have to store for in the godowns. Those things should be stored in the godowns. So storing is the tertiary sector. And we may need to talk to others over telephone or send letters. Communication. This much of bags we are sending, this much of cotton we are sending, this much of sugarcane we are sending. We need to talk to others. So communication. We need money for that process, for purchase or purchasing a lorry or purchasing goods. We need money. So that is banking. So these things like transportation, storage, I mean warehousing, communication, banking, insurance, and many other things. They are all known as tertiary sectors. Listen here, you have to listen one thing. These transportation, storage, communication, banking, insurance, and all not directly involved in the production of the goods. They are helping the first and secondary sector. Okay, so they are called tertiary sectors. See, since these activities generate services rather than goods, it is also called service sector. What are the services? It includes some essential service that they are also not directly help in the production of goods. Only if you transport goods by the help of transportation, banking, insurance, it cannot be produced. We need some persons to do work on that. No? So what are they? Let us see. We require teachers, doctors, personal services, like personal in the sense they have to work on their own physical work. Washermen, barber, cobblers, lawyers, their personal services. And also people to do administrative and accounting works. How many lorries have come, how much money to be invested, how to execute this plan, how to produce, how to color it. So administrative and accounting works, we need people. So some essential service. The service sector also includes some essential service that also not directly involved in the production of goods, but it helps like teachers, doctors, personal service like washerman, barbers, cobbler, lawyer, people to do administrative and accounting works. And recently, the new services based on information technology. See, over phone, we are contacting the purchaser and buyer and seller. Over phone, we are contacting the transport lorry, truck and all. Over phone, we are transacting the bank transactions. So, information technologies, new service sector are it. Okay, so internet cafe, ATM booths, call centers, software companies have become important as they produce service, as they render service to the nation, service to the first and secondary sector. I mean primary and secondary sector. This is also called tertiary, I mean service sector. So tertiary sector is also known as service sector. So primary is known as agriculture because most of the products from agriculture, we are calling primary sector as a agriculture sector. And secondary, as most of the work is being done in the industries is industrial sector. Secondary also called as industrial sector. Tertiary, it provides service, so it is also called service sector. Okay. Now let us see how do we count the various goods and service from each sector. Total production of each sector. How do we count? See, the primary product is used as raw material in the secondary sector. So how to count it? The total production of each sector. Here we have to note one thing. There are intermediary goods. So we have to add only the final goods and services. We have to include the value of only the final goods and services. Let us see how to do it. See, for instance, if a farmer sells a wheat per kg 8 rupees at primary, I mean from the agriculture production, and the wheat is sold to the mill, flour mill for 8 rupees per kg. In the flour mill, it is grind and it is made into a form, secondary form, I mean flour, wheat flour. Wheat is sold in the form of wheat flour, secondary shape. So that is flour, 10 rupees per kg. Again, it is being made into biscuits, adding sugar, this and that. They made biscuit that is sold for 15 rupees. So, wheat from primary sector, flour from secondary sector, I mean biscuit also from secondary sector. Wheat, flour and biscuit from secondary sector manufacturing. So, which one you will add? The value of wheat or value of flour or value of biscuits you have to add. Here you will have doubt. So here the wheat and flour is considered as an intermediary product. Wheat and flour is considered as an intermediary product. We have to add only the value of biscuit. Only the value of biscuit, that is, we have to add the final goods and services. The value of final goods and service. Not every goods. Not every good that is produced and sold. Only the final goods and services, that is the value of biscuit, not wheat and flour. Let me tell you why it is so. Because biscuits are the final goods that reach consumers. Why we should not include wheat and flour? Let me explain. Why only final goods and services? Wheat and wheat flour are intermediate goods. Wheat and wheat flour are intermediary goods. What is intermediary? They are used in producing final goods and services. So the value of final goods and services already includes value of intermediate goods. I mean the value of, see again let us move back. The value of biscuit includes wheat flour. Wheat flour, the value of wheat flour includes the wheat. So wheat or the value is included in the wheat flour. Wheat flour's value is included in the biscuit. So if you add all the three, it will be repetition. So you are adding wheat once, wheat flour the second time, and biscuit the third time we are adding the value of wheat. Can you understand, children? Wheat in the form of wheat once we have added in the flour. Why it is sold for 10 rupees? 8 rupees for wheat, 2 rupees for grinding charge, flour akark. So that is 10 rupees. Why it is 10 rupees flour akit? Then it goes into the biscuit form. From the flour share, it goes to the biscuits form. So, and the biscuit included wheat flour, which included wheat. So, wheat's price is included in wheat flour. Biscuit price is included, including wheat flour. So, we are in a position to count the value of this product, only the final product. Again and again I tell you, because it includes the first and secondary product. They are all intermediary goods. So intermediary goods, the value of final goods already includes the intermediate goods that are used in making final goods. I mean biscuit and the value of wheat is added already. Hence, the value of biscuit only to be added. 60 rupees for biscuits already includes the value of flour. Clear? So, to count the value of flour and wheat separately is therefore not correct, because then we will be counting the same things a number of times. Wheat once, wheat flour 8 plus 2 rupees second time, and 10 plus 15, third time. So repetition, it won't be correct. It is not correct. And then we will be counting the same things a number of times. So first as wheat, second as flour, then finally as biscuits. Not necessary. We should not add like that. So we have to add only the value of biscuit, final product, not intermediate product. Clear, children? Yes. Let us move on to the GDP. What is GDP? The value of final goods and services produced in each sector during a particular year. See, the value of final goods and services produced in each sector the value of final goods and service produced in each sector, I mean primary sector's final goods and services you have to add, and secondary sector's total income you have to add, and tertiary sector's total income you have to add during a particular year. So final goods and services in each sector, primary, secondary and tertiary, during a particular year, in a 1 year, and in 1 year, it provides the total production of the sector for that year. Listen carefully. Value of all final goods and services produced in each sector during that particular year. Here we have to remember 3 things. Value of final goods and services in each sector during a particular year is called total production of the sector. Okay. And sum of the production of the 3 sectors, primary sector, secondary sector, plus third sector, primary plus secondary plus tertiary, all the 3 sectors, sum of the 3 sectors gives gross domestic product. What is gross? Total amount of the production. Domestic means within the nation, in our nation. Product is produced, goods produced. So it is the total products which is produced in our nation. Okay. So all the, and the sum of 3 sectors, production in the 3 sectors gives gross domestic product or GDP of a country. It's a value of all final goods and services. It's a value of all final goods and services. I mean, primary sector income, secondary sector income, and tertiary sector income. All the final goods and services produced within a country during a particular year is called GDP. Okay, GDP shows how big the economy is. If the GDP of a country is big, I mean much amount, then the country's economy is big, of course. If the country's economy, I mean GDP value is low, the country's economy is less. Okay, it depends upon the GDP, amount of GDP. I mean, if you have produced millions and millions of rupees GDP, so the country's economy is definitely big. So the GDP shows how big the economy is. Once again, I tell you, GDP is sum of the production of all the 3 sectors. Total of the production of all the 3 sectors income is called GDP, gross domestic product. So product, who does this work? In India, measuring GDP is undertaken by the central government ministry. They have a separate ministry to measure this GDP. So we have to know many industries are there, many factories are there, many IT sectors are there. Every sectors are producing, but how far it is effective? What are the remedial measures we have to take? So the government has to follow this production. It has to concentrate, it has to monitor to develop the GDP of the nation. Okay, so it is undertaken by central government ministry. Calculating GDP, I mean gross domestic product, I mean from production of each sector is done by the central government ministry. This ministry, with the help of how it will do, with the help of all over the nation, all the states' income should be added. All the 3 sectors' income should be added. So, with the help of various governments departments of all Indian states and union territories, everything to be included. All Indian states and union territories production should be included. They collect information relating to total volume of goods and services and their prices. Not only the volume of goods and prices, goods and services, and also their prices. the central government ministry will collect from all the informations from all the states and union territories, informations of total volume of goods and services produced and their prices, and then they will estimate GDP. Okay, children, let us stop with this. In the next session, let us see what are the measures can be taken to increase GDP. Thank you.